Schiffe, Häfen, aber auch Offshore-Energie sicherer machen und effizienter. Darum geht es bei der zweitägigen internationalen Konferenz MARESEC an der Universität Rostock.
Die Zukunft maritimer Technologie scheint vor allem eins zu sein: autonom. Ob ganze Flotten von Schiffen oder kleine Unterwasserdrohnen etwa zur Überwachung und Wartung von kritischer maritimer Infrastruktur, auf der internationalen Konferenz MARESEC kommen Forschung, Politik und Industrie zusammen, um die Herausforderungen auf hoher See und in großer Tiefe zu diskutieren.
Dort Menschen hinzuschicken ist schwierig. Die können auch nicht 24 Stunden natürlich am Stück arbeiten, sondern wir nehmen zum Beispiel autonome Fahrzeuge, die in kürzester Zeit diese Gebiete absuchen können und die sich untereinander abstimmen können. Und das ist der große Punkt, den wir auch auf dieser Konferenz haben.
Denn wie diese Kommunikation der Systeme sicher ablaufen könnte, welche Rolle KI dabei spielt und wie einheitliche technologische Standards auch über Ländergrenzen hinweg funktionieren, all das wird auf der Konferenz noch diskutiert werden müssen.
All right, then let's start. Hello and welcome to the panel discussion today. We have guests. That's the NDR, German Television, taking pictures. Our topic is about, our main topic is about maritime or collaborative maritime autonomy. And as I previously said, I'm a distributed systems guy. I like it if there's not only one computing system, but more of them. Then I see a lot of challenges, problems that I can play with and try to solve. And when we were talking with our partners in project proposals, with you or your colleagues, we had a lot of interesting discussions about those things. And I thought it is a good idea to bring all these different perspectives together and have a chat with you here on this occasion. And I will briefly introduce my panelists here. So to the right is Ralf-Martin. He's a director of consulting services in northern Germany for CGI, and CGI is a consulting company, especially for technology, originated from Canada. And for the first round, the idea is basically that I give each of you 3 to 4 minutes to introduce yourself, your background a little bit better, say a bit about your company, and maybe you can also state what maritime autonomy means to you. And I would start to my right.
Yes, thank you for having me here today. It's always a pleasure to step out of the code jungle and getting into a room full of people that deeply understand what really is this digital transformation, and that it's at the end not switching things off and on again simply. As mentioned, I'm here from CGI, not to be confused with computer-generated imagery, even though we are doing sometimes things as much as impressive like that. CGI, as already said as well, is one of the largest IT companies and consulting firms in the world. We are at more than 400 locations worldwide, 90,000 professionals working, but more importantly and more relevant to today's event, we are deeply embedded in critical infrastructure, in governments, transportation, logistics, and last but not least, as well, maritime ecosystems. Some of the themes today sounded very familiar to me. Just to name a few, there are some intersections. For example, we have something which is called S-Track-S. It's an anti-GPS spoofing solution, and which is offered as a framework and a service, and aims at improving navigational integrity. We are as well present in terminal operation systems, also implementing AI, not only for the MRO tasks, but also for the general processes which are have to run there. One of the most important projects we did in the past is the port of Rotterdam. So we have a heavy presence in the Netherlands, and I'm deeply linked with my Dutch colleagues, where we use, for example, digital twins and AI to really enable critical missions, MRO task duties, and long-term optimizations to the infrastructure. So we are constantly on the lookout regarding to partnerships, whether it's through collaborations or just innovation projects or simply hiring smart people. We also have a Unicorn Academy where we sponsor undertakings and building together what's up next. Concerning your question, concerning the autonomous vessels, yeah, I also have a view on this. We are often talking about autonomous ships. You are the experts in these domains, yes, of course. They are far away from being still experimental, so you know it better. In truth, as you know, they are operational, and their real potential remains untapped if we continue to look onto them as isolated actors. So if we want to really scale things, and this technology as a whole meaningfully, we need to shift from individual autonomous units towards cooperative fleets. It's nothing new to you as well. But this should not focus on task execution. It should also be more concentric around shared missions. So environmental adaptability, for example, dynamic collaboration with both manned and unmanned platforms and systems. This isn't just a technical evolution, it's a systemic transformation. And in my personal view, 3 capabilities are absolutely essential here. So first, we need secure communication. So above and under the sea level. And without this, no amount of autonomy will be trustworthy. So this is crucial. Second, we need shared situational awareness. A single ship or vessel sees only his personal view of the whole situation and not the big picture. Collaborative decision and decision-making processes must be based on a global operational view, let's say. And this can be achieved by cultivating and really concentrating sensor data across all ships, participating platforms, satellites, ports, drones, and so on. And thirdly, autonomy must be gained in a contextual awareness. So local automatization is not enough. Distributed AI at the edge needs to understand its role and the broader mission. So what needs to be achieved, and to be able to act without relying on central command for every decision. So this is a real shifting underway, and we must stop deploying isolated bespoke solutions. Instead, we should aim for modular standards-based architectures that are also practical and scalable, and we need to integrate them into operational systems, whether that's naval command, experimental platforms, environmental monitoring, or port logistics, so everyday's life. So every rollout should be accompanied by test environments, digital twins, well-designed fallback protocols. We need to take and consider this well in advance, as you know. And of course, none of these matters go without cybersecurity and resilience at the core. Autonomous maritime systems, they must evolve their positioning from today's technical curiosities for most of the people to mission-critical infrastructure. And it's not just about building autonomous ships anymore, it's about building resilient, coordinated fleets.
Yeah, we heard a lot about opportunities and challenges, and they are all important, but if you had to choose, maybe I give you the opportunity to change one thing, to accelerate the adoption, the development of autonomous systems and their cooperating. What would it be? Technological changes, organizational one, regulational one? Any ideas on that? Who want to take?
Oh yeah,
I
would shout regulations, but that's purely personal.
Okay.
My response to this would be a bit more complex, maybe if we have 2 minutes.
Sure.
Let me close with a thought that speaks maybe directly to many of you in the research community. From my practitioner's view on the front and interacting with the guys who apply the technology. The maritime sector is full of brilliant ideas, but in fact the implementation is often very slow and very fragmented. If we want to ensure resilience and competitiveness, we must close the gap between research, industry, and real-world operations. So we need to be one monolith. And my recommendation for this, coming to your question, is simple. Don't treat innovation as a product. Treat it as a system. And that system must be robust, compliant, and interoperable from day one. And if we truly aim for secure and scalable maritime systems, then our ways of collaborating together must evolve as well. And the future shouldn't be about isolated excellence and knowledge clusters and so on. It should be about trusted, secure integration across all domains involved. So that would conclude my statement, but I have really the impression, thanks to MARESEC and your involvement and input, I think we are on a good way.
Thank you. I may have another standard question. So technology provides opportunities, but also risks. Are there any risks we should pay more attention to? Or is it just technology? Anyone?
From my perspective, it's the central question we face as a consulting company globally, with majority of our clients adopting new technologies, and new technologies in this century means implementation of AI to optimize processes, operations, and so on. The central and pivotal point will be what is the legal situation and what about AI ethics? So this is one of my personal, mostly adored topics, because I hold lectures in Bremen at the university for AI ethics. And in your domain, so what happens when you have an oil tanker in the North Atlantic, a heavy storm arrives, and the AI steering the ship on the most economic route, because the owner wants to operate it at low cost, decides to steer some degrees more left, more right. The AI has responsibility over manned personnel on board of this ship. And we need to consider this in everything what we carefully plan. And up until now, we do not have any guardrails which are very, very consistent globally. We are at the very beginning, but I'm pretty confident seeing how quick and how far we reached in just some years with AI opened up for almost everybody out on the streets, and the application, not only to create photos of cats and things like this, but for more serious applications. I'm pretty confident that we will try to find solutions for these regulatory topics as well. But this is to be considered, to my opinion.
Okay, so I also want to give the audience the chance, the possibility to ask questions. Do you have some questions for our panelists?
Hey guys, let's speak about time frame for a second. Most of us sometimes speak about autonomous systems as something in the future. There will be a moment, I assume fairly soon, where these autonomous systems will start to play a major role or start making a difference on the seas around Europe. What would you expect when this calendar year is where we see that?
Yeah, I wouldn't neither provide a fixed date, but I would see it as well in some waves and in a very precise sequence. Like for me, the very first wave arriving certainly before 2030 will be full focus on harbor and infrastructure and industry securitization, so countermeasures, detection measures. So this will be the very first thing on the agenda of every key player, whether it's navies, whether it's terminal operators, and so on. So unfortunately, conflicts, and particularly armed conflicts in the history, showed that they're a big innovation driver, to be frank. So, I would say that adoption in this domain, also particularly in the domain of surveillance, monitoring, operations, and so on. I do not want to talk in depth about really military applications. There's also a lot of things on the way, as you might know, will come in this decade. But I think full focus until in the next 5 years will be resilience, securitization of infrastructure and assets, and reconnaissance. So this is for sure.
Are there further questions?
First of all, thank you for making raising the point of regulations and social acceptance, making propaganda for the session. We have especially on that later on. But my question goes in another direction. Several of you mentioned the need for standards, and I know that for the industry it's always a little bit difficult, because in the moment you open your systems, you also enable that the competitor gets in also in your systems. So that's how it is. But still, I would like to know from you, how would you see the chances here in the domain you're working, especially coming now with more autonomous systems? But a dream like I could have, like I take the best from EvoLogics, the best from CGI, the best from Kpler, the best from Demcon, throw the other stuff away from you guys, and put what I have together in one system and protect my port, or protect my wind park. Exactly, only if it takes the whole system. But is this realistic that we come to that? I mean, standards, the question on standards is it always takes a long time. So you have to start with open interfaces. So you have to open your ports and have to enable that your competitors get in. And I know that's difficult for the industry, but nevertheless, what's your side on that?
Yeah, so as I stated previously, I wouldn't just focus your question towards I pick myself a la carte from every participant here on the panel, and then I build up my dream solution. I stick more or less to the basic statement that we really need to have a real close collaboration between research and development, industry, customers, or those who apply this technology. I would not designate military as customers. But what I have learned so far, I lived 20 years in south of France, and I got the insights of how are projects done in different countries inside the European Union. And if you are a small, medium-sized company and you have a specific problem, in France, you just go to your department leader, the Bundesland, and then you state your problem. You do not, most of the time, you do not even write things down. You just have oral conversation. And then at the very evening or at the desert, when you go to lunch with that guy, he shake hands, and you have the approbation and the approval of funding and collaborative project. So I really wish that we adopt the same culture in Germany. I am quite confident. I was last week in Berlin with the new head organization of our research ministry and space ministry from Dorothee Bär. And they want to change a lot of things. They want to install like the 27th regime in the European level in Brussels. So maybe soon there will be quite a lot of facilitations in terms of how are things going to be treated in the future. But seeing the speed of our decision-making process in the government, the customer of us, I lose sometimes the confidence that we will have this renewal of all these processes and digitalization efforts within this legislation period. So let's keep it simple. I really would like to have an intrinsic motivation from everybody involved with really clear goals and really trying to make things easier. We are partially with some entities where we are working with public fundings and so on. You can see the difference if you work with international organizations like ESA, and you have, for example, a project with the Bundeswirtschaftsministerium. the paperwork you need to fill out for the Bundeswirtschaftsministerium is thrice the volume you need to post to Nordwijk or elsewhere. So this is the very beginning. We should put our efforts in to really invest and to improve things.
All right, thank you. Yeah, we're running a little bit out of time, so I would give each of our panelists a chance of 1 minute to draw a conclusion. You pointed out that collaboration is important, all of you. Maybe, and it puts that also as a topic for this panel, but it was never meant to be discussed here, but outside after the panel in the coffee break. Because that's, I think, where good collaboration always starts, yeah? in discussions, and a more relaxed atmosphere is always better for this. So I would like to have 3 sentences, 1 minute conclusion from each of you, please.
Yeah, I think what's pointed out, you pretty much wrapped it up. Collaboration is key. We need to facilitate things where we can, where we have the power when we interact. And we are, as CGI, always open to receive interesting input from your community, from research community all over the globe. And it's very, very fruitful to us. And our history shows that it's quite successful. So we are there for since 40 years plus. And let's continue our journey together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And let's thank our panelists.
Thank you, Fedor. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.